I am unbelievably goddamn cranky. By the way, you notice the sunglasses? People have been telling me to bring back the eye patch, but, you know, I feel like I've moved past one-eyed accoutrement. And, you know, since I already smoke a cigar during my videos, and that's douchebaggy, why not go full douchebag? Or some sunglasses indoors. Or more to the point, I'm wearing them because my eyes are bloodshot and baggy because I haven't slept even the tiniest bit. My upstairs neighbors decided to move out, and for some strange reason, it took them the entire fucking day to do so, and I have no idea why it was so loud. I think they had industrial equipment up in that bitch. Anyway, I am unbelievably fucking cranky, and I need to take it out on somebody. What I really need is somebody who's like all cute, but totally empty in the head, saying shit so stupid that I can just slap it down even with my severely diminished mental powers. You know, some jiggly titties wouldn't hurt. Nah, fuck it. It's too big of a wish list. Where am I gonna find that shit?
Oh, hi babes, yours truly here.
Wow, I could really use a supermodel who does nothing but fuck me and shit gold coins. Fuck, I can't believe I wasted my wish on this. Continue, Laci.
This is an object. Objects exist to do something for me, while I, Laci, cutter of paper, am the subject.
Objects exist independent of whether or not we're going to use them, but forget about this. I'm sure you're using some special feminist usage. I just thought I'd stop and say, hey, you think the sunglasses are douchebaggy? Why don't you take a look at her glasses? Look real deep into them. That is window glass. That girl does not have an astigmatism or myopia. She's just one of those hipsters.
Objects act, while objects are acted upon. Now I know you're thinking, crazy Laci, what's this got to do with sexuality? And the answer?
Actually, I was thinking, Laci, this is the very first video I have ever seen from you where you didn't have cleavage explosively detonating in my face. I'm going to be honest, I find you about 94% less interesting. And to be even more honest, I didn't really find you that interesting to begin with. But you know, I'm already into this, so the only way out is through.
Is everything. So I've been wanting to make a video on this topic forever because I think that it is a huge hindrance to a truly equal, healthy, sex-positive society.
I'm just going to pretend I know what the hell sex-positive means. From the context that I've heard it in, I figure it's like the yin to the yang of PIV is rape. Like there's some feminists who are like, oh, all sex is terrible and it's rape, yada yada. And then there's the sex-positive people who are like, oh no, sex is cool. You know, as long as women are in total control of it. That's what I've gleaned. I suppose I could look it up, but what are you going to do, Laci?
That's really all I want in life. Drumroll please. Sexual objectification. Objectification is defined as the viewing of people solely as depersonalized objects of desire instead of individuals with complex personalities and desires or plans of their own. In less fancy speak, it's where someone is treated as basically a thing to have sex with.
I have a confession, gentle viewer. I am having some difficulty understanding what the fuck she's saying. I really don't know what she's saying. It sounds retarded, but I can't be sure because I have no fucking clue what it is. Just sort of like my spidey sense is telling me that's some retarded bullshit, but I can't break it down further. You know what, maybe if I get further into the video, I'll become a little more lucid.
Are very often portrayed as pretty things to look at, something to try to have sex with. Turn on almost any sitcom on TV and you're gonna see this normalized.
Laci, seriously, do you ever take a fucking break for air? I'm trying to splice this video, and there are no pauses for me to interject. So I just have to cut you off in the middle of a sentence because it's all one long fucking sentence. But let's go through these sitcoms one by one and see what kind of objectification is going on. I'll just go ahead and do some still shots. Because I got the time. Because those motherfuckers are still moving! Alrighty, The Big Bang Theory. How fortunate that I like to watch this show when I'm stoned. Alright, let's start from the far left. That would be Bernadette. She is the girlfriend of the guy immediately to the right of her. And she rules that relationship. She makes more money than him. He's pretty much her bitch. Okay. Then there's that Rajesh Kuthrapali. He has difficulty speaking to women without being drunk. Okay, let's move on. On the very far right, is that Mayim Bialik, also known as Blossom, also known as MacGyver's little friend? I'm sorry, I'm rambling. Anyway, that is Sheldon Cooper's girlfriend. Fun fact, they never have sex. Not once, because apparently Sheldon's some sort of neuter. Now, oh look, there's Penny in the middle, best looking person among them. Well, okay, she is a waitress. She doesn't even make as much money as Leonard, who makes a pittance, but she still rules that relationship because, let's face it, he's a dork. Actually, he just wears glasses and has a funny voice, but if he took off the glasses and spoke normally, he wouldn't be a bad-looking dude. He looks like he has fairly good muscles. No homo. What was I going to say? Oh, just another digression. One thing about Big Bang Theory that bothers me is they go to the comic book store, and it's like, these stereotypes of intelligent people are dead wrong. No intelligent person, as a grown-ass man, goes to a comic store even once. Alright, next example. In West Philadelphia, born and raised on the playground is where I spent most of my days, chilling out, maxing, relaxing all cool, and all shooting some b-ball outside of the school, when a couple of guys who were up to no good started making trouble in my neighborhood. I got in one little fight and my mom got scared. She said, "You're moving with your auntie and uncle in Bel Air." I whistled for a cab, and when it came near, the license plate said fresh and it had dice in the mirror. If anything, I could say that this cab was rare, but I thought, nah, forget it. Yo, homes to Bel Air. Doom, 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 doom. I pulled up to a house about 7 or 8, and I yelled to the cabbie, "Yo, home, smell you later." Looked at my kingdom. I was finally there to sit on my throne as the Prince of Bel Air. However, I digress. How I Met Your Mother, goddamn seriously? I could write a doctoral thesis on how this show is obviously written by a woman. Let me try to organize them bullet points here. Okay. Barney is the single guy who's not looking to be married, which is actually fairly normal for the age bracket, although he's one of the older ones. Unlike Ted, who's in his mid-20s, he's like, oh, I gotta find my soulmate and get married and settle down, which, I mean, what kind of fucking loser is like that in their mid-20s? Nobody. And he's always just saying really girly things like, this is the universe's way of telling me, da-da-da-da-da. And it's like, dude, seriously. And then they just make everything look like being a couple is the most wonderful and fulfilling thing ever. And Barney, the one guy who seems to have his shit together, is portrayed as being a narcissistic, shallow jerk. When really he has the best strategy for living life, you know, just live life. Try to do fun shit. Don't be a fucking emo. Anyway, it's not objectifying women because it's all about, I have to find the right woman with the right thoughts who has the same interests in me, yada yada yada. It couldn't be less of this objectification nonsense that Laci speaks of. Do some research, bitch. Why do they call it a bum rush? It's hardly as if a bum would have some pressing appointments. I don't know anything about Seinfeld, bitch. That was like 2 decades ago. Jesus Christ, it was a show about nothing. Alright, back to the mainstream of the dissertation.
So heavily exposed to this imagery that scientists have found that both men and women see women's bodies as a mishmash of sexual body parts.
Scientists, you say? That's fascinating. Let me check the peer review real quick. Almost hit my face. Looks like that's bullshit, Laci.
While we see men as whole people. Hot, right? Not really.
So let me ask you something, Laci. Your sanitation engineers, that's a euphemism for trash men, do you see them as whole human beings with hopes and feelings and aspirations and whatnot, or do you just kind of think of them like magical Oompa Loompas that appear to take your used tampons? Just a little, personal question from me to you.
I actually think it's pretty messed up. Speaking of hot though, often objectification is confused with thinking that a woman's hot. But objectification is not the same as being sexual or being sexually attracted to someone.
Of course it isn't, because then women would be guilty of it. So let's add in some disclaimers to make sure that only men do it.
It's a natural part of life, right? But what's not natural and is very much manufactured is constantly portraying women as sex objects for male pleasure.
You know what else isn't natural? Putting a carrot on a string and dangling it in front of a donkey so that he will keep moving forward, and plow the land for you. Poor carrot.
Objectification is women's magazines being littered with all of the things that men don't like.
Actually, that kind of reminds me of an episode of the Three Stooges, where what they'll do is they'll go to a house and they'll release a lot of vermin and insects and things, and then the next day they'll come along and be like, we just so happen to be exterminators. Kind of like that. Keep giving women shitty motherfucking advice on how to deal with men, and they'll be like, oh my god, my relationships suck because I keep doing this shit and it just makes shit worse. Why don't I go read some Cosmo? Because, apparently, I'm going to level with you, they're stupid. But yeah, you get what I'm saying. I don't know how that's objectification. Just some good Three Stooges style salesmanship.
Objectification is being catcalled and harassed just for walking down the street. It's save the boobies and don't let cancer steal second base as breast cancer campaign slogans.
Non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Hodgkin's lymphoma. Let's see, neoplasm, osteosarcoma, stomach cancer, intestinal cancer, brain cancer. How many other kinds of cancers are there? There's a lot of different kinds of cancers, really. Throat cancer, lung cancer. Why don't we have a whole bunch of drives for those? Funny that.
It's shitty commercial after shitty commercial using women's bodies to sell everything from A to Z. Close-ups on her ass, her lips, her breasts to sell beer? Cologne? Jeans? Jewelry? Sometimes it's hard to tell what they're even selling. Objectification is the preoccupation with trans women's genitals and defining her in terms of her sex parts.
Okay, the only people who have a preoccupation with trans people's genitals are, well, trans people. They are obsessed with their genitals. Personally, I don't give a fuck. And I think I can speak for 99% of the human race as their representative saying, hey, we the human race, we don't give no fucks, motherfucker. Why don't you keep that shit to yourself? Because we just don't fucking care. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
It's being bombarded with sexy cleavage in every magazine ever while being told that breastfeeding is obscene.
Laci, I have seen your cleavage more times than I've seen my own dick. Nigga, please.
School dress codes for girls that are designed not to distract the boys because her knees, her shoulders are so sexualized that a tank top is deemed inappropriate. Objectification is the thousands of comments on my YouTube videos where men talk about my breasts, my body, and leave graphic sexual comments about me.
I've done that. Oh man, little digression. I am so proud of this little bit of two-part trolling that I did. I went to one of Laci's videos, and I left the comment, very polite, young lady, may I explosively deposit my ejaculatory fluid on your giant titties? Now, of course this is sort of crude, but it was bait for a guy, one of these white knight types who's like, you're a joke, man, you're fucking pathetic, blah, 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 blah. And so, my response, learning this from the SJWs, I was like, why would you say something so incredibly hurtful? I am a man with needs and I'm honest about them. And I try to fulfill them in the form of asking a young lady a polite question. You, by contrast, hurl these vicious insults at me with the obvious intention of grievously damaging my emotional well-being. You, sir, are an internet bully. Do Do you get some sort of sick thrill out of this? Oh, that was fun. I forgot where I started with this. Like I said, I haven't had any sleep. Go on, Laci.
The flood of movies and TV shows where men of all different body types date women of one body type. It's women's bodies used as sexy background accessories in music videos. Objectification is the idea that men and women simply cannot be friends because men could never see a woman as anything but sexual.
Not true. Men and women can't generally be friends because women are shitty fucking friends. That is a fact, and I'm sorry. But it is, and you're going to have to accept that. And why don't you and all women try to work on being better friends instead of being shitty fucking friends, and maybe, just maybe, men and women can be friends. But I don't know about any of the guys watching this, but I try to treat a woman like a friend and I get burned for it. Actually, women, you try to show them friendship, they act like you're hitting on them and like you're one of those pathetic chumps that'll follow them around and do shit for them. So, I mean, just from my perspective, it seems like you bitches are part of the problem. In fact, the entire fucking problem. Maybe I'm a misogynist that way.
It's regular Halloween costumes for boys and sexed up versions, only sexed up versions, for girls.
Yeah, because women, they're all like, hey, I just want to have a plain and frumpy Halloween costume. And then those evil executives at the Halloween Costume Corporation, they're like, oh no, you bitches gonna dress sexy. We're gonna make sure you don't have a choice in the matter. Get a reality check, bitch.
You see where I'm going with this? You see what I'm saying? Seeing women as sex objects is a part of our cultural subconscious. We do it and we live in it and we aren't even aware of how bizarre it actually is. In a sane world, one that we do not live in, everyone will be mostly subjects and occasionally objects.
That'd be nice. Getting sick of lifting heavy shits. Like, oh, you think just because I'm covered with muscles that I should lift your heavy shit for you? Just so happens, despite these muscles, I'm deplorably fucking lazy and I don't want to lift your heavy shit, bitch. That'd be what I'd say as a subject, but I just go ahead and lift the heavy shit. I'm gonna be honest. I'm sad like that. Just can't stand up for myself. I'm an object. A lifting machine.
Now this is actually the status quo for men right now. This is not the status quo for women. 96% of sexually objectifying imagery is of women's bodies. This pattern reveals one hell of a message about gender.
Here we go.
That men are mostly sexual subjects and women are mostly sexual objects.
Oh, Laci. I can understand why you'd think that, because, you have those big boobs, right? And you don't realize that a lot of guys, they just kind of nod along and agree with what you say, even though it's patently fucking retarded, because your boobs give you magic powers. So, I mean, you can say that you're an object all day and all night, but you're using your booby powers to get guys to not say rational shit in the face of your irrational shit. So, I mean, who's really the subject and who's really the object here? Who has the power? I don't have magical titty powers. Do you? Of course you do. So take them for granted. I don't even know how to describe to you a life without magic titty powers, because you can't conceive of it.
That inequality is the reason why this picture looks commonplace, while this picture looks kind of awkward.
Men and women have different sexy parts. Like I could go like this, but I'm horribly out of shape, so instead I'll just go like this. Oh, look at this baby. Oh, you find this shit attractive? Oh, yes you do. Oh, you are so wet right now.
In this kind of culture, men are granted more sexual power than women, which...
That is the biggest, most retarded pile of steaming fucking bullshit I have ever heard in my entire goddamn life. Please continue.
leads us to see the world through men's eyes. We learn that male sexuality is active, that they're visual creatures, and that the objectification of women in their life, using women for sex, is both normal and praiseworthy. Hell, it might even be funny and charming.
Using women for sex? Well, you know, women, they just gotta stand around looking pretty, as you just discussed. But what do men have to do? They have to be intelligent, funny, have a little bit of money, maybe kind of dangerous, but not so dangerous they seem like a criminal. I mean, it's a lot of work. Don't get me wrong, it comes pretty easy with a little bit of practice. But yeah, it's more active because it has to be. Women, they just kind of sit around. Even the ugliest fucking woman just sits around like, I wonder if I can get some chump to fuck me. I'd like some sex. Oh, look, 40 chumps just arrived. I forgot where I was going with this because I actually started drinking because that moving is still going on. Don't judge me.
Secondly, we don't require that men look a particular way to be taken seriously.
Oh, is that fucking so? Yeah, I'm here to apply for that position as CFO for this company. You might notice that I have an MBA from Harvard. It's right there on the resume. Have lots of good references. I feel like you're not taking me seriously. Why is that? I mean, my credentials are impeccable.
Cultural narrative looks at men as whole people, which leads to mostly men's stories being told, 80% of political offices being occupied by men.
It's because of sexual objectification that 80% of political offices are held by men. Fortunately, I have my philosophical consultant, Big Lundy, on the line. The hell you say? I am glad that you gave me some fancy words for that. I am going to slap this bitch silly. Thanks, buddy. You have just committed the fallacy of post hoc ergo propter hoc.
Men occupying the highest ranks in virtually every industry in the world.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't got magic titty powers, you gotta do something, right?
Thirdly, because women's bodies are subject to constant frivolous criticism, girls learn quickly to self-objectify. The APA reports that self-objectification results in lower cognitive and motor functioning, increased sexual dysfunction, and body shame.
Gosh, how do I put this in a delicate and sensitive manner? Your mind is weak and your spirit is weak, and you do not deserve to thrive in any kind of world. Capiche?
Found that self-objectification is directly related to girls pursuing fewer careers in STEM fields.
All over it. Post hoc ergo propter hoc.
It's also a major contributor to mental health issues like eating disorders and depression, which disproportionately affect young women. And
listen, Laci, you're just making a case for females being inherently inferior. I'm not saying that. You're saying that. I don't know if you realize this, Laci, but every single minute, every single second of my life, people have been trying to take my ass down a peg. People have been telling me that I am a worthless fucking maggot, that I'm a useless piece of shit. That's what society has been telling me. But I had the wherewithal not to listen to that shit. So everything's copacetic. And it's hard for me to have a lot of sympathy for somebody who is so fucking weak that they actually listen to that shit. Oh no, society's telling me things, that's totally valid. If you're older than 12, fuck you, you weak-minded thing.
And to go all the way into the shadows. Sexual objectification contributes to a culture where sexual violence isn't taken seriously. It tells us that male power over women is normal, and sexual equality is something that most people don't even understand.
I'm sorry, are we still in that retarded phase where we believe that men have the upper hand in the entire sexual power paradigm? Because honestly, I don't even know how to argue with you when you are claiming something that's contrary to every last bit of observable reality. I mean, you cannot possibly be that fucking stupid. So I gotta figure you're crazy or you're lying, but I can't argue with this Because it's fucking insane. Oh, men have all the power. Yeah, yeah. Laci, let me tell you what the dynamic between men and women is like. Men are kind of like a dog at the pound. What you gotta do is you look healthy, you look happy, don't lick yourself too much, you know, seem affectionate, nice. And then the women are like the people coming in and looking at the dogs like, do I like that one? Do I like that one? Do I like that one? Looks a little mangy. That one looks a little scrawny. This one seems friendly. Good muscle tone. I'll take this one. That's what it's like. And anybody who says different, well, there are a number of explanations. Lying, delusional, retarded. There's probably more, but I'm tired, man.
Men are sexually aggressive while women are sexually submissive.
Ha! I scoff in your general direction. Okay, I guess there's some truth to that. Women can be plenty sexually aggressive, they just aggressively indicate they want you to make the first move. How it seems like to me is, a lot of women, they will make it very clear that they want you. They'll corner you. They'll, throw themselves at you, and they'll act coy. Then you gotta go all caveman on their ass and just throw them down and fuck them this way and that, and they love it. My experience. But then again, I'm a psycho, I attract psychos, you know how it goes. It's a little more complex than whatever bullshit you're saying, though.
That men should want, and women should want to be wanted by men. You know, she should take that harassment as a compliment.
I'm sorry, Laci, are you suggesting that women don't want to be wanted by men? You're lucky that I am so fucking lazy, or I would go and take a clip from every single video that you have ever done in your entire YouTube career and shown your explosive, flagrant cleavage, and how the camera is angled to accentuate that cleavage as much as fucking possible. Okay, I guess you could say that you are just a ruthlessly mercenary bitch capitalizing on your physical assets, but still, technically, you want to be wanted so that you can make that skrizzle, yo.
She asked for it. He can't help himself. He can't be raped. We all deserve better because this is some bullshit. Everyone should be pissed that this is so normal. Are you pissed? I'm pissed.
Goddamn right I'm pissed. Who takes like 10 fucking hours to move out of their house? How much shit do you motherfuckers have? I'm sorry, what were you pissed about, Laci? Ah, fuck it, I don't care. Can I see your titties?
Let's change it. First step, gotta be aware of it. Then cue the micro changes. This is pretty simple to do, actually. Stop evaluating women on how they look and treating them like sex objects.
Oh, okay, I can do that. Fuck you, get lost. Video over. TTFN.